Okay. Now this I was really impressed with. Martirosyan was squeezing and squeezing and squeezing and hugging and squeezing my little bunny rabbit. In this position, I was very impressed with the move Rook E3 check. Because at first you're like, well, that's just a draw. And then I decided, when analyzing it, I said, probably it's more likely black will win than draw. And then Danny agreed. Now the engine says black's only up like 0.5, but I think you're going to win in the long run. In the long run, you're going to, move up after 30, 40 moves, and eventually you win this. So my feeling here was, even though white is Mamedyarov, that black was going to win. Now, it might take 70 moves, and it did, but, okay. Now, this is move 74, so it only took 17 moves to win. And just very slowly and methodically putting his knight on the right square, forcing the king back, forcing the pawn to h5. You can't let him take it. And then we do it. Then we put the king on g5, keeping the bishop to defend the pawn. Okay, then we make the knight move some other squares. The bishop just has to stay on the h-pawn. Now the bishop has trouble, obviously. Yeah. And it was just very smooth. It was just a very smooth victory for black against a guy who's really good. And I was really impressed with the next move. Now, the reason I'm impressed is that every move wins, and this move is easily the best. So when every move wins, it's unusual that a GM makes the most accurate one. That's a computer thing. So any knight move wins, f2 wins, it all wins. But he played this move, which is brilliant. The reason it's brilliant is it's not really near the action. You'd think like, why is the knight going here? The knight blocks the diagonal. So if it's black's move, not only does this win a bishop, but easier is f2. f2, f1. How do you stop f2, f1? You can play bishop here or bishop here, which does stop f2 and f1. If f2, you take the knight. Fortunately, both moves lose the bishop to knight d6. So if you can't go here and you can't go here, this guy's going here. And there's no stopping him. That's it. You can't stop it. So after knight c4, Mamedyarov immediately resigned. Because bishop f7 loses the bishop, bishop b5 loses the bishop, and otherwise this queens. So knight c4, if black played another move, the engine's like +3, +4. Now it's like plus a billion. Because you're going to queen by force. So very nice technique from the lower rated player against the much higher rated player. I've been told this guy's killing it on chess.com. He plays in Title Tuesday. He won Gibraltar a couple years ago. This guy's going up, up, up. So, I mean, and he won the match. He drew Mamedyarov the next game. Yeah. No, there's no cheating. A serial cheater, you're talking about somebody else. You're confusing the different players. Okay. Truth hurts. Well, I didn't say anything to Magnus or Vichy, but yes. Top players, not Magnus and Vichy, but other top players are very concerned with their rating. So they try to play in tournaments that can't hurt their rating. They try. And the way to do that is to play people your own rating who don't mind having quick draws. Then your rating just doesn't change. Now, if 2750 pluses only play 2600s, 2620, 2640, they got to win a lot. If they have 5 or 6 draws in a row, they lose 10, 15 points. You got to win. And if you lose, it's even worse. If you're Geary and you lose to Grishuk and you're like, no, my rating, and then you beat MVL, you're back to even. But if you're playing 2630s, you can't be drawing and losing. So they avoid playing them. And that's why a lot of the top players don't play in the Olympiad, or they try not to. Because the Olympiad, they're playing people 100, 200, 300 points less than their rating. If you're Magnus, or Vichy, or MVL, or Grishuk, or Wesley, or Fabi, you're pared down every round 100, 200 points. And you got to win those games. If it's draw, your rating goes down. And they don't want to play where they have to win, as Magnus discussed in our interview a couple of days ago, or yesterday. He's like, well, I like playing the guys I know, and, if we draw, it's okay. And then I beat them sometimes. Not like I have to go 7-0 or I lose rating points. That's not what he's looking for. He doesn't want to force the action where he has to play crazy to win if he has the black pieces. If he wins and draws half and half, that's fine. If Magnus plays in a 9-round tournament and has 4 wins and 5 draws, great. But if he plays in a tournament with people like me, he's got to go 8-1 or 8.5 half, or his rating is going to go down. And that's unpleasant. You don't want to be forced to win every game. You want to got to relax a little bit. Yeah.